Hi, in this video, we're going to go over how you're going to be using search operators. I'm going to be discussing the operators all, any, none. Then we're going to be going over contains, exist, lists, and the last one is other. Your first step when you're going to be running a search will be to select your primary filter. You can select from this drop list, and these are all sections within a purchase order. So we're going to give you everywhere in a PO that it contains information and you can extract information from. Now, just for simplicity, we give you the most common filters here at the top of the list. By default, we select any description field. We select that because it extracts information from various areas in the purchase order that really describe where either the product or the service was sold. So it's a really great foundation. My first step is I'm going to show you how you're going to use the operator any. Again, we default to it because it is the one that is most often used because it works like the word or. It's going to expand your search. So I'm going to begin by entering, in this case, iPad. You're going to see that as I type my words here, I'm going to get that drop list of suggesters. You can click on any one of those items if you want to add it to your search bar, or you can just continue to type your search directly into the bar. To lock it in, you're going to hit your enter return key and you're going to be creating a little blue tag. And there it is. So any works like or, which means it's going to give you more information. As I continue to enter search terms within my search bar, utilizing the operator any, you're going to see that my results are going to continue to grow. I'm going to get more and more data because what the system is doing is finding every line item where either iPad appears or iPhone appears. And so therefore, I'm going to get more information. If I add a third item to it, you're going to see that again my results are going to continue to grow because now it's looking for either iPad or iPhone or tablet. Again, giving me more information. That's how any works. Now let's talk about all. All works in the opposite. Any expands, all restricts. So I'm going to remove these items. I'm going to show you how that's going to work out here. I'm going to change any to all. And what happens now is that I'm going to be able to create a really concentrated search. Let's say that I'm looking for iPads and I want the iPad to be gold, right? And then maybe I want it to be 64 gigs. So I'm going to type in 64. And now you're going to see that my results are going to be really concentrated because now I'm directing the search engine to only give me line items where these three things appear together. So therefore, they're just going to be fewer results. To kind of recap, any expands because it works like or, all restricts because it works like and. So what it's doing is it is looking for iPad and gold and 64. Now the third operator is none. I'm going to remove these because I want to have a larger level of information here, just a bigger pool of data. I'm going to go to any and I'm going to put in here iPhone. Okay, so let's talk about none. None is, think about it like a bouncer at a club. Okay, it gets rid of the undesirables. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to go into any description field and I'm going to change any and I'm going to go to none. And now what I get to do is remove those things from my search that I don't want to see. In this case, I want to stick with only the devices, right? Only iPad and only iPhone. So now I'm going to get rid of those things I don't want. In this case, a charger. And something to keep in mind, when you're using the operator none, it actually functions two ways. It removes those items from the PO that you don't want to see, and it also, by default, it goes to any, which means that it's saying, I don't want to see charger or cover or case or anything else that I want to continue to add to my search bar. So just kind of recap, when you're using none, it's going to default to any. So it's going to look for, I don't want to see none of the charger or the cover or the case if they relate to either iPad or iPhone in a line item. So that's how those main three work. I'm going to now go over how you're going to be using contains, exist, and then list. For that, I'm going to go ahead and cancel this rule out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll over here. I'm going to click on that X and you're going to see that it's going to remove the rule. To add a rule, you're going to hit add. It defaults to and because generally, again, it's how a search is built. You really want to give it some weight. You want to give it some direction. In this case, I'm going to just select the vendor name. I'm interested, let's say maybe in my competitors. Contains is our default because it looks for root words. So if I'm looking for a vendor, let's say I'm going to find Apple. and I know that the vendor name is Apple, and I'm going to have it and type it in there, it's going to give me every vendor where Apple appears. Now that is works pretty great if you already know the name. If you do not, then list is your best choice. So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to remove contains, and I'm going to change it to list. And what it does now is that it's actually going to list out all of the vendors that are selling, in this case, iPad or iPhone. And I can go ahead and select from this list directly. And I can select any one I want, and that's exactly what my search is going to give me, right? So all of the ones that are Apple related, and this is how your list works. If you want to find more items within the list, you can go ahead and click on this more link at the bottom, and the list is going to expand, and you can go ahead and continue to click and select vendors. You can also exclude. Maybe I don't want to see Apple Store. Maybe I want to see everybody else, but not Apple. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to select exclude. When I select that, everything that's in red is now omitted from my results, and it's going to include everything else with the exception of those 3 items that I've selected. Now that is how none works, all works, and any works. We've discussed contains and list. Now next one I'm going to talk about it is other and then none. For that, I'm going to remove this search just so that I can give you a better idea how it's going to work out. So I'm going to hit add. And now let's talk about, we talked about list, let's talk about exist. Exist is a really good filter if you're trying to find information within a purchase order. If you want to see if it's in there or if it isn't. In this case, I'm going to look for an initiator, right? Sometimes you are interested in finding who purchased it or who initiated the purchase. So you can go ahead and type part of what you're looking for. It's going to default to whatever filter already has that information within it. In this case, I'm going to select the email. And now, rather than contains, I'm going to select exist. It defaults to yes, and it's going to run my search automatically. So what it's going to give me, it's going to give me the purchase orders where iPad or iPhone were purchased and where the initiator's email appears on the PO. So I'm going to click on this purchase order number. This is going to open that PO for me. I'm going to scroll down here to the bottom of the screen where that information is stored. And here it is, right? So it's going to give me my buyer initiator information, and there I see who purchased it and who initiated it and their contact information. It's also going to give me my ship to address, and that usually goes hand in hand. I'm going to scroll to the upper portion of the PO so I can return to my query. To return to my previous screen, I can click on query and I'm returned back to my search. So that's how we're going to be doing those. The next thing is I'm going to remove this rule here, and the last one I'm going to show you is contains. So I'm going to come back and I'm going to select my vendor. So now if I look for other, pardon me, that's what I'm going to show you. Other is going to give you more options. It's going to show you if it's going to start with something or it contains information within it or it ends in a particular way. So maybe I'm looking for every vendor where it either starts with tech, let's say, and I'm going to type that in there, and that's what it's going to give me, right? So it's going to give me all of the vendors where TECH is the beginning portion of their name. Or I can change that at any time if I want to look for it in between or anywhere in there. So again, to recap, we have gone over all, any, and none. All works to exclude information because it really concentrates your search. Any expands because it works like or, so it's going to give you more information. None removes, it gets rid of those things you don't want to see. Contains looks for root words and phrases. Exist means is it there or if it's not. List gives you a choice, and then other gives you options of where you're going to be searching for that information. We're going to be available to help you at any point, so feel free to get in contact with us at 888-998-6348, or you can get in contact with us via email at support@smartprocure.us.